So my name is Rick Rodriguez. I'm the Chief Operations Officer for Lubbock ISD.
I'm Misty Rieber. I'm the Chief Academic Officer for Lubbock ISD. We've also participated in the System of Great Schools, and we participated in the beginning when in the System of Great Schools you received what I would call deep compensation for support, and we participated recently when it's more wide compensation. So not as much in dollar support, but definitely lots of coaching and wraparound services. We've seen success in both. It's helped us to grow leaders, to create autonomy in our schools, to develop systems that we've been able to replicate across the district, and to give us a learning experience to be creative and to try new things that we wouldn't have tried without that. So when we think about SGS, we think about, we've had specific schools that we've redesigned. So we've had schools that have gone from F to A as part of the SGS work. We've had schools that we've lifted up to become magnets that are now, we've been able to revive campuses that were a declining enrollment that now we're seeing growth with a new focus. And then we've been able to see campuses where just putting a new leader in that position with some opportunity around blended learning and some open pathways has really changed the culture of the school. And we're excited to get scores this spring and see the outcome from some of those campuses. One of the great things about being part of SGS is the collaborative work that you do with other districts. You are paired with people, with chief innovation officers coming to the table together to look for creative solutions, both to challenge your norms of what you've always done and to question, but also to find creative ideas. We've spent time in the resource convening where we come together as part of that work in the Texas Strategic Network, but we've also spent time where we visited campuses outside of the network where we went on our own through an invitation through the network to go and see what was happening inside the classroom.
Yeah, I would say the collaborativeness of, for me anyway, more actively engaged with the ERS strategies, the opportunity for us to be collectively in a room, and we were just talking about it, that we're all sharing, we've all been in the same space, possibly even thinking nobody else is going through what we're going through. And you find yourself in a room full of people that are going through exactly the same thing. And each of us has a different way to carve the elephant to be able to eat it one bite at a time. And so the power of having that many ideas and that many innovative thinkers in a space where it's okay to share, it's okay to fail. And so just having that kind of safe space is very, very powerful and has been very beneficial to us. The relationships that we've been able to develop with other districts where we phone a friend when we're in a rut or we need a new idea. We develop that network and build on that network. And then, Misty's come back and from meetings and said, Rick, we need to look at this. And I've come back and said, Misty, here's what about this? Can we look at doing things this way? And so I think that's a huge benefit that we pull away from being participants in SGS and in the ERS network.
And then when we talk about SGS, we've seen campuses transition from failing schools to incredibly successful A and B campuses that we know they're now part of our North Star goal. They're part of helping us reach that success for all of our kids. So we have examples across the board of both of those things.
I would just point out again, the elementary campus that we had that was a failing campus. Worst case scenario, we made some significant change, bold change in leadership. And then their participation in SGS allowed them to go from the failing campus to an A performing campus, which is a top rating within a short amount of time. And from the finance side of the house, with a minor influx of resources, but with the mentality of how do we sustain the work that we're doing, so that when the resources were to go away, that we're still going to be able to maintain the work. And so from the finance side of the house, being able to see that work come to fruition was extremely powerful, and certainly replicating that across the district so that we can say it doesn't take money. It doesn't always take significant influences of resources, but rather the ability to think through strategic work, and then how do we sustain that work past the initial influx of resources. And that was extremely powerful from the non-instructional side of the house to see that it can be done.
The Texas accountability system gives you a goal. It's an end outcome goal. We want our kids to be successful. We need a measure in order to make sure that we're all playing on the same field. We need to know what the rules are, and we need to be able to reach goals and reach rules so that we all have understanding. We talked about setting goals and having our North Star goal or things that we're looking at to evaluate campuses that are in need. Accountability gives us language and data to evaluate campuses in need, and then gives us also data and the ability to evaluate campuses that we need to celebrate and show success and growth. And gives us that goal, just like in anything you do in life, in a sports analogy, or when you're growing up or you're moving forward, you have to have a goal and a measure as you move toward the next step. One thing I would say that we have been very vocal about when you talk about education agencies is to think about sustainability plans. When you do short-term interventions for turnaround or support, I think it's equally important to put the money and the coaching and the effort into the sustainability. And that can be for the district to do it by themselves, but we've really appreciated the ERS model around that, with the sustainability being at the forefront of what we're doing.
I would just echo that I think if an outside or if an agency is looking at how do we help our public schools be better, then it's not just about here's an infusion of money, now go fix your problem, but rather here's some support, and then almost force the issue of how will you be able to sustain this moving forward, because the resources aren't going to be there forever. And so if it means reallocating, then it means reallocating. So start talking about that. What can we do without? Especially for us, we're a declining enrollment district. So anything new is going to cause us to have to figure out, and Misty and I have had this conversation, great, that sounds like a great thing. What are we going to do without? And having a partnership from the academic side of the house to be able to have those kinds of conversations with the support from the state, saying we can provide you some temporary resources, but you're going to have to figure this out on your own, makes it even more valuable, because then it really does belong to us, right? It's something that we created, we worked on together, and that's the power of that sustainability long-term wise, being able to work through the issues that are specific to Lubbock ISD, but so we can own those and then move forward in whatever that success is.
If I were talking to state education agency leaders, I would tell them that I think it's their job to provide systems of support for the districts. They have greater buying power, greater leverage, greater opportunity, that they can support districts that are large or small, that they have that collective bargaining chip that we don't have. And when they provide those resources, they make it easier for us. And that can be in curriculum, in grants, in systems, in support. It can be things that people opt into, but having that opportunity allows us to focus on teaching and learning and not having to focus on making those big decisions.
Yeah, I think agencies play a key role, if not the critical role, of providing those resources and opportunities so that districts can really focus on the key thing, which is instruction, right? We don't want to ever reduce the level of instruction just because we don't have resources. And to Misty's point, the power, the buying power and leverage that they have with agencies or other companies that can then provide the support and then be replicated across the state. A lot of us didn't get into education to do the jobs that we're doing. We got into education to teach kids. And so we're not business people. We're educators who were converted to business people. And so having an agency who can have that power and that focus with experts that then can come and say, here's the buffet. And so the field is level. Everybody has the same access to all of the resources. Now you choose what best fits your needs in your district, because every district has different needs. And so allowing us to be able to say, okay, if you choose this, then here's what we expect. I think that's the perfect model for state agencies to be able to say is, here are the resources, therefore you choose. And if you choose this resource, then this is what we expect. If you choose this resources, then, and it's fair for them to say, we expect these outcomes if you access these resources. And I just think that is a fair way to implement and use state resources to provide the support for ground level boots on the ground.